So my original idea was to upload each stream of Jenica Spires Against Order as one-by-one chapters throughout the entire thing. But as I was editing, I then realized that if I did that, the series was going to be completely boring, so I scrapped that idea. Then I got myself a new idea. Binge watching every single JSAO stream I did and making individual essays summarizing what happened in each volume. No splitting them into intermediate chapters, no segments of gameplay with no commentary. None of that. How's it going, fellow mollusks? My name is Spencer Man, and welcome to the remaining summary of Volume 2 of Jenica Spires Against Order. So here's how I plan on setting up this summary. Each floor will have a small summary of what the objective is, what color chip I'll be getting, and what happens on each one. Protect the Zone floors are self-explanatory and are pretty boring to watch in side order, so I'll quickly go over those. Sink the Infinity Balls will have longer summaries with where I guide them and if the battering Lentos will ram into them. Destroy the Portals are more interesting than the Splat Zone floors, so I'll give those special attention if something interesting happens. Escort the Turbine is pretty much the more interesting objective as you are guiding a turbine down a set path towards the goal, passing checkpoints along the way. Finally, defeat the fleeing foes. Simply wild goose chases with fish on wheels. Yeah, individual summaries will be applied to each floor. Some will be boring, some will be interesting, but this is only describing all the floors except the boss floors. There are 3 bosses in total, excluding Smollusk, which only appear on floors 10 and 20. If something interesting happens with any of these floors, I'll make special note of those floors, but I guarantee you, it'll most likely be rare. So starting off, High Tower floor for main damage close. Before we start this floor, I made a comment saying that I was surprised that I talked about the Asynchronous Rondo boss, aka the Layered Rotator floor, after literally just talking about it on the floor prior to that boss floor. That was pure RNG when that happened as well, which made it funnier. Back to the mission at hand, we start off with protecting the zone on this floor. Nothing major was happening on this floor after getting through one checkpoint, until I looked away for 5 seconds to be met with... Whoa! Oh, hi! Oh god, I let my guard down for 5 seconds. Yeah, just 5 gelatins. That's all. Nothing special. Okay, there was one moment where a drizzling Capricchioso did take the zone from me for a short moment, but it was nothing I couldn't manage. Next up, wide open floor for Drone Ink Strike. We're escorting a turbine here. I suppose it's worth bringing up that in commentary, I talked about how I like the Splatana wiper much better than the Splatana stamper, mainly because of its mobility and speed. However, on this playthrough, I didn't even know that there was a color chip that increases the speed of your swings. The chip is horizontal slash speed, a chip you can only get in the Spire while wielding Fry's palette. I didn't even know this existed until after I streamed all the volumes at first. Which, by the way, I still haven't gotten every single color chip in the Order sector. I got this chip on my second time beating Smollusk using the Order Splatana, which I'll admit would have been nice to know while I was streaming this. But I digress. The floor was done in a minute's time anyway. Explosion Festival floor. Lucky Bomb Drop. This floor comes with a bonus challenge and it's... Don't use your main weapon! Oh. Well, at least the chip I got was a drone color chip! The thankful part about being here was that the kit for the Order Splatana was Fizzy Bomb and Crab Tank, so at least I'm still doing damage to the gelatins and their portals. The balloon fish on this floor were also a big help because at least I trigger them with the Fizzy Bombs. This floor did teach me something about the bonus challenges. The more you don't follow the challenges, the more bonus membucks get taken away from your reward. I started off with 235 bonus points in the reward, and after using my main weapon once, it took 3 points away from it. Once I tested it again, the game knocked my reward down to 228. It made me realize just how forgiving these bonus challenges are if you were to get them in your run. Something else I slightly noticed was the portal stems getting stuck in your ink, taking damage from it. On this playthrough, I thought it was Pearl legitimately attacking them, hence the small laser pointer that she's using here. Unfortunately, this pink laser of hers doesn't actually do damage to the gelatins. It's ultimately hard to tell if she's actually attacking the gelatins by herself, and I've yet to even test this out myself. The only times I've seen her actually attack is mainly whenever I have some drone color chips installed in the palette, which here I had a drone ink strike installed in this run. The only thing that really saved me and the bonus challenge on this floor was mainly my crab tank, which allowed me to build up some extra damage to the portals, which was the main objective on this floor. The floor only took me 3 minutes, so it wasn't that bad. Whole floor, splat ink recovery. This brings up a topic from what happened in the previous climb attempt with Fry's palette at hand. The homing shots color chips were actively messing with where I wanted to aim at, homing into pretty much the first gelatin in front of me in the clusters. It felt helpful on paper to me at first when I tried it for the first time, but once I got up to the later floors, just look at this! They were severely hindering me from getting the 8 balls to the goals in this footage. Even worse, homing shots start focusing on the enemies in front of a cluster, even when you're aiming for the portals you want to destroy as part of the objective. They really aren't that bad unless you have up to 4 or even 5 of those chips in the palette, where it ends up becoming an inconvenience to your run. God. Anyway, this was a chill floor. There are only 2 Alamambos on this floor. One of them you can easily destroy using the conveniently available spin top, since the Mambos don't see them as threats to run away from. Just aim the spin top at them and they're easy targets. Aside from that, there's nothing worth noting on this floor except for that and me firing my crab tank at the second one to complete the objective. For this vending machine corner, all I bought was 1 mobile drone gauge and 1 canned special drop with the membucks I have. On the off chance I come across one of these floors, I'll see if there's anything worth showing, but again, when it comes to the vending machine corners, the chances of anything special happening on these floors are very slim. High tower floor for quick charge. It's another portal objective floor. Really the only thing that hindered me here was Pearl launching an ink strike on the spin top I bumped, which threw it off aim from the second portal on this floor, but it was nothing I couldn't manage. Bowl floor for squid attack.
Someone is at the front door.
Don't mind my Alexa. Don't mind it. Chat, don't mind it. You can bet the stream chat for sure reacted to that as I entered this floor. Just less than a minute and the 3 portals here are destroyed. Pretty forgettable really, so on to the next floor. Careful aim floor for main ink coverage. This is an entire floor that you cannot coat with ink. Nothing can be coated, except for the 4 sponges in the middle. At first I thought it was going to be a challenge until I saw the spin top spawner in the center of the floor. I was able to use as many of them as I pleased. It did not matter. Let me try this. That made me laugh so hard. I had to include my reaction to pulling that off without even trying. I couldn't even stop myself from laughing, too. Well, to my surprise at pulling off that trick, that floor took me only 19 seconds to complete. Even the chat was shocked to see that. Anyway, rising ground floor for ink recovery rate. The rising ground floors have been pretty common on the early floors I've been noticing on these streams. All this floor was is just a platform in the middle going up and down after every 10 seconds, give or take, and I just had to chase more Mambos. It for sure seemed like it was easier getting this objective done on this floor layout given what difficulties I've been seeing. Intensifying Harmony floor. So if you remember when I talked about Splatoon 3's flaws, then you're aware that this single player mode doesn't allow you to change the way your Agent 4 looks to change the parallel canon look. In my canon side order story with Jenica, it's actually supposed to be Fauna that was my headcanon in Agent 4. But this boss takes the form of what the last avatar you played as in Splatoon 2 when you first started playing this game. I wish I was joking, but I've yet to find a way to change how Agent 4 looks in this game. Here's another thing I found interesting about these bosses. Depending on whether they're on floor 10 or floor 20 determines their difficulty. Right now this parallel cannon is on floor 10, so the difficulty is pretty easy. In Phase 1, it's only one opponent. Phase 2, 2 opponents. Phase 3, 4 opponents. You really want to look out for the opponents that look like real Inklings because those are the ones that'll activate their triple splashdown the moment they drop from their cage. Otherwise, it's just a normal enemy. There's our first key! I only had enough for armor drop and the ultra stamp from this vending machine. Carefully aimed reversal floor for main range. This floor is actually very fun. Not only are we using spin tops, but they are our main source of ammo to destroy the 2 portals up ahead. And they spawn accelerandos, which give us more spin tops upon defeat. Even better, these spin tops do a hell of a lot of damage to the portals as well, making them, well, the best weapons to use on this floor. The one difference with this floor from that of the previous climb was I had Pearl with me this time. 2 tops for each portal and we complete our objective. Rolling double hill floor for Splat Ink recovery. Battering Lentos really do love chasing after the 8 balls just to play with them, huh? Well, thankfully they can't fall off the platform. And this Lento in particular, oh boy, it thought it could stop the ball from getting into the goal. But not today! On this floor, I got to try using the Ultra Stamp to kill the gelatin surrounding the second 8 ball. Really, the Ultra Stamp is just that powerful in this game. It can stamp through pretty much anything and deal massive damage. I wonder why they never put this special weapon in Salmon Run. It'd be perfect to use against even the King Salmonids, especially Triumvirate. Rotational floor for main range. More 8 balls. This one's also got a danger. That being the whole floor coated in enemy ink. Yeah, painted black. Yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, if Painted Black by the Rolling Stones wasn't copyrighted, I'd use the song here. But I'm playing it safe. At minimum, I'd probably sing the song myself just to be on the safe side. I do want to mention that if you use a spin top just to hit the 8 ball from its starting receptacle, it won't hit the ball out of it. A bit unfair, but I suppose it makes sense. Oh, and I also tried launching the third 8 ball up the wall with the dash pad, but it wasn't enough. I'm sure there's a way to get it to launch to the top of that high platform, but I just didn't pull it off. Though it did take me a bit to complete the objective here because the spin tops have knocked the 8 ball farther from the goal than I wanted a few times. But even that wasn't enough to raise the difficulty. Ping-ponging double hill floor for turf drone gauge. We enter the floor and... Don't jump! Don't jump! Yep, that's our bonus challenge. This floor taught me that using the dash pads doesn't count as manual jumps, so I was free to use these all I want while protecting the 2 zones. Well, I did accidentally jump once, but it didn't affect my reward too much. So there are 2 ways to defeat a spawning Accordo. One is you deal damage to its body until it dies, which is a given for all the other gelatins. The other is you take out all the bulbs on top of its head and it'll self-destruct on its own, and deal splash damage to nearby enemies. I accidentally did the former option to defeat this particular Accordo, but I also noticed that the bulbs over its head do respawn after some time, so if you plan to use them for splash damage, you better get rid of those bulbs before any respawn. 1 max lucky chain and 1 special charge up. Outstretched neck, uneven floor for disc piece drop. These 3 portals were spawning enemies like crazy. Luckily for me, I had my trusty Ultra Stamp ready to destroy them all, though it did almost cost me a life in the process. The floor surprisingly didn't take too long since I had it, so I'm okay. Springing swarmed double hill floor for lucky chain window. Almost got completely surrounded by a group of battering Lentos in the beginning. However, immediately jumping out of the way saved me for a bit. And thanks to a chip I got earlier, I've had the ability to charge my special weapon by simply moving around. No inking the ground necessary. All 3 portals destroyed by the Ultra Stamp, onto the next floor. Onrushing Shelterless Fortress floor for drone battery drop. We got 3 portal objectives back to back to back these floors. What's that about? Need I say more about what happens on this floor? Just like the previous floor, there were only 3 portals I needed to destroy this time anyway, so moving on. Boss floor! Layered rotator floor! Yep, I actually called getting this boss a second time. This time on floor 20. So we're getting a more difficult version of this boss. Wow, this is giving me Mementos vibes. Jeez. Wow. Just look at this place. This place indeed reminded me of Mementos from Persona 5. The red lights, the bars like if this was a prison, the endless abyss. You could not tell me this does not look like Mementos. Anyway, I started fighting this boss and started realizing the difference between fighting this boss on floor 10 versus fighting it on floor 20. One small detail that was noticeable on this was the more damage one layer takes, the faster it spins. This floor also taught me just how overpowered the step-off song really was as a special power in Side Order. Everything, including the bosses, get disabled and affected by its shockwave. Holy crap, this thing is insane! One thing I really don't recommend while fighting this boss is using the Ultra Stamp against it. Seriously, you get way too close to that thing, the layers raise themselves up, just making the weak spot just barely out of reach, and release a shockwave like the Wave Breaker. So really, it all solely relies on your main weapon for this boss. Heck, this is the point where I do think you could definitely fight this boss more efficiently if you kept the crab tank in your kit. With our second key at hand, only 10 floors left. Something my chat told me about is that you shouldn't go for Soundwave damage unless you have Killer Whale 5.1 as your special weapon, or if Pearl has a color chip for it. I didn't buy it here, but it's something my chat told me on this vending machine corner. I just bought more mobile special charge and some extra pearls. Large underpass covered floor for ink damage. Don't move in swim form. I just got a freaking chip that allows me to recover ink using my swim form, and now I get a challenge that prevents me from doing that. Thanks, game. That's what I thought the chip was for. But I was moving around in Noctiling form just fine and my special was charging already. But yeah, the bonus challenge here was not to move around in swim form. I could walk, I could jump, and I can glide with Pearl, but as long as I don't move in swim form, that bonus reward is mine. I just gotta keep my finger off that button. And that's what I did. I had to destroy all 4 of the portals on this floor. Now on these floors, the portals can sometimes vary in size. Some can be bigger, some can be the usual small size. For instance, this middle portal below this pyramid looking hill is a bigger portal. It takes longer to destroy these portals, but as long as you have something that'll deal more damage to it, you're golden. I will touch up on the fact that only on floors 21 to 29, we start seeing the battering lentos carrying other gelatins. Mainly just the Capricchiosos, Spiccatos, and Accelerandos. Now, on the topic of these gelatins, as a bit of trivia from an interview I read, every gelatin type is named after a musical term. Since the memverse is Marina's making, her love for music is still shown with the gelatin names. For example, homing arpeggio. Arpeggio is a musical term for 3 different notes that make up a chord in one musical scale. Further explained, let's take a C chord. A C chord includes the 3 notes C, E, and G, which is a major C chord. The chord only really becomes an arpeggio once the whole octave is included in the mix. So this includes the next C up from the first C. Can I just say, I bypassed floor 23 for vending machine corner that I missed out on the color chip I talked about earlier. Looking back on this footage, present me is definitely mad at past me. But instead, I went ahead and got Drone Killer Whale, Max Lucky Chain, and some extra pearls. God damn it. Springing Gateway floor for knockback. I really am just avoiding the dangers on these floors, am I? Well, I come across this floor once again, and this time, I at least don't have a bonus challenge or a danger in it. In fact, this was the same floor I showed that footage of me getting messed up by the homing shots chip I got last attempt. I still don't have any idea how I made it up to floor 30 with those at hand. Really, the only hard part is making sure the 8 balls here cooperate with you. That and keeping them away from the lentos, which are carrying spiccatos on this floor. With the step-off song initiated and a small struggle with getting the 8 ball off the wall here, that completes this floor. That is, unless the Ultra Stamp's impact against this lento didn't knock the 8 ball out of the goal. And this lento which almost did the same thing. God, these lentos were keeping me on my feet. Dizzying, unstable footing, bounce pad floor for mobile ink recovery. Wow, that's a mouthful. With the added bonus of a support color chip saturation, this is my absolute favorite floor. There are bounce pads everywhere on this floor and a few platforms. All I gotta do is get around and destroy the 3 portals. Okay, it seems not as easy as it sounds, but as long as you have some ink coverage on the platforms, and you remember to fight with your special weapon, it really isn't that bad. I really don't recommend the Ultra Stamp or the Crab Tank on this floor, but if you're able to get step-off songs here, then you're set. Of course, ink strikes work fairly well here too, so really it all depends on what special weapon you have here. Shelterless Swarmed 2 Bridge floor for main piercing. Turbine time! As I was traversing this floor, the amount of items I've been getting was almost every other gelatin I've been defeating lately. That's probably due to me getting more item drops on the color chips, but damn! Really, this floor wasn't much of a problem. The turbine was escorted all the way to the goal in no time. Extensively circuitous covered floor for quick charge. Another turbine to escort. Nothing much other than Lentos ramming into each other and all the other gelatin types. Then again, while fighting the gelatins, the turbine does cover up turf for you as you escort it, making it a problem for them. The trail for the turbine was basically a figure 8, so it was easy to figure out. Eternally Vigilant Soaker Blockade floor for drone gauge charge. It's about time I went for the danger, and the danger is ink coating and darkness. So at first when I got into the floor, I saw that the zone wasn't coated in enemy ink, which confused me, but I didn't question it. This floor is simply just 4 soaker blocks in front of the splat zone in the center of the platform. The portals were on the opposite side of the soaker blocks. By popping all the blocks all the way, they pretty much make it harder for the gelatins to reach the zone. Not impossible, but definitely more unlikely. You still just gotta try to fight them off as they try to squeeze through the center 2x2 gap between the soaker blocks. Keeping track of the soaker blocks and the gelatins is for sure challenging on this floor, especially with the Accordos launching the arpeggios. It's even more so when it's in complete darkness, because a lot of the time you may not know exactly where the arpeggios will home in from. Heck, here you can see me trying to use my Ultra Stamp at the one open area between the soaker blocks, only for it to be blocked by a stray Lento. Even more troublesome is the drizzling Capriciosos that can fly over the soaker blocks even after being fully popped. Even worse, the area where the gelatin portals are cannot be coated with ink, which I only found out by using the Ultra Stamp trying to fend off the gelatins crowding the small area they could squeeze through. Once again, I had to rely on collecting disc pieces to get through this floor. And thankfully I got that step off song, because I don't think I could have managed any more of that with the color chips I've collected in this run. I complete this floor by keeping the last gelatins spawning in at bay with an Ultra Stamp before they could even reach the zone, and then move on. Only 2 more floors to go! Scampering between crosshairs covered floor for drone ink strike. Perfect. This was such an awesome advantage I had over the first Alabambo. The other 2 I had to chase them around a bit longer. For a while I couldn't figure out where the other 2 were on this floor, but when I found one of them, I managed to chase it down and kill it as it got stuck in my ink. Even though I did get a step-off song on this floor, it didn't exactly help knock away the 3rd Alamambo, but I managed to still find it shortly after unleashing it. 1 charge slash, he's done! It's time to take vengeance against Smollusk! Let's just skip this cutscene here. To reiterate, I didn't get a single homing shots chip on this run. And that was for the reason of what I showed you in the previous footage. It was giving me trouble in that run where when I was fighting Smollusk, I was trying to aim for the portals, but my slashes would only home in on the gelatins in front of the portals I'm targeting. Phases 1 and 2 were fine, sure, but it was phase 3 where I mostly had this problem. Even worse, as the phases go by, the more portals you destroy, the more the remaining portals will spawn more gelatins, making it even harder to get the last remaining portal. Just look at how fast this thing is spawning the gelatins! It's ridiculous! Even in my previous attempt, I was so close to beating Smollusk. I lost all my lives to its stingrays all 3 times, regardless of whether I destroyed all the portals or not, costing me that run. Luckily for me, this time around, I didn't need to rely on getting disc pieces as much, so once I destroyed the 2 portals in phase 1, I just used the Ultra Stamp on Smollusk, finishing the phase pretty quickly. This attempt made me realize just how broken the Ultra Stamp really is in side order, so I at least had a failsafe in this run. Not to mention, whenever the portal I'm attacking happens to spawn any gelatins, they won't matter if I destroy the portal while they're nearby because the portal explosion will kill any of them caught within its wake. The other cool thing in this fight was that I found out why it was better to destroy the capsule raised up by the gushing Triunfails. The capsule turns into a sub-weapon of your current ink color and falls into its mouth, causing it to self-destruct and cause damage to nearby gelatins. So not only is it the best way to get rid of the Triunfails, it's also an incredibly useful way to destroy them too. Having all 3 of the portals destroyed, I used another Ultra Stamp on Smollusk and it's on to phase 3. This run felt immensely better because I genuinely felt like I had more granular control over where my slashes were going with the Order Splatana. Just striking one portal, I got it to be close to another portal, and once I destroyed the second portal, the explosion also affected the first one I initially struck. With all 4 portals destroyed, I pretty much knew what to do from that moment forward. Well, except when I tried using an Ultra Stamp while Smallest was firing its stingrays at me before I could attack. But at least on my second attempt, I managed to use the Ultra Stamp to get me the hell away from them should Smallest attempt to use it again. Once I got toward the end, I used another Ultra Stamp to attack Smallest once the shields were destroyed, waited to get another one, attack Smallest again, and see how many shots I needed to finish it off. Just when Smallest was about to use its stingray again, BOOM! It's done! Oh wait, I don't view the cutscene? I don't view the first cutscene again? No, you cheaters beat me again! And no fair, no fair, no fair! Nice going, 8. Another palette reconfigured. Fine then, but this isn't over. I'm gonna keep trying until everyone's dreams. That's the Order Splatana route done. The 3rd key was collected, and I only collected 30 color chips. My score? 20,846 points, resulting in a total of 209 pearls. With the 3rd key I collected from that run, the 9th locker I opened unlocks Sheldon's palette. More items are now being sold at Cypher Siftings, and I unlocked a few more hacks from Marina. That's 2 order weapons down, only 9 more left. And some of them I haven't even gotten yet. So with Volume 2 finally wrapped up, next time on Jenica Spires Against Order, we'll be going over my Slosher run in the Spire of Order. See you guys then.